Where's my phone charger? Where's my phone charger, and is my wife coming in? There we go. Good evening. Replay gang, give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm trying to pull myself together. Getting ready for pretty grueling drive. I'm not really one of my least favorite drives tonight. And I got a little time to burn, so figured I'd just go ahead and jump on here and make a quick live to keep the content flowing for maybe 30 minutes or so. Get my vitamins going. Give me a minute and then I'll talk about I want to talk about just some of the facilities I experienced in the last 24 hours. I got superfood chews, I got turmeric, I got all my daily shit. I'm almost out of Kachava. I'm super bummed about that. Because Kachava is expensive, y'all. Kachava is expensive. All right. Quick trip. Yeah. Ronald, yes. Yeah, give me a minute and we'll talk about it. What'd I do with my coffee? Ha. Just made coffee. I got to get a new inverter. By the way, is Jenna here? Yeah, I don't know if Jenna's here, but I got to get a new inverter, y'all. This shit inverter that Prime puts in these trucks, dude. There is no way this inverter is outputting 2,000 watts. Zero chance. Zero. There's a pure sine wave inverter that I want to get. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Because today my inverter just took a dump, like with my Wi-Fi and everything on it. With absolutely, it's just starting to give me problems. Like I'll park at the end of the day sometimes, and my inverter just shut off for whatever reason. And it's not like it has a huge draw on it. It just doesn't, it definitely doesn't want to run my air fryer with much of anything else on. And that's understandable. My air fryer is pulling 1,200 watts. But my water boiler for my coffee, I think it was 1,000 watts. But I could have like, only the fridge will be on the inverter. I can have everything else off and it starts screaming at me just when I'm trying to heat up water. Like, I'm just tired of it. Like I know people that have swapped out there. I know someone with a Cummins 2,000 watt inverter has no problems. No problems running an air fryer and a TV and a fridge. Mine, anything that's over like 900 watts, you can't run anything else with it. So it's just, anyway. So I was making coffee and I had to shut like everything in the truck off just to heat water. So good evening, y'all. I'm getting ready to drive here, obviously. Get my clock back in 8 minutes, but I'm not going to leave until 10:30. Just because, well, two reasons really. The first is that I can leave, or if I leave, the later the better to go through Chicago, obviously. But the second thing is, even if I leave at 10:30, I'll have my load dropped off 12 hours early to drop and hook. So, good evening, Keith. All right, Ronald. So let me get to the topic of the video real quick. First of all, Kwik Trip. So I'll admit that in almost 6 years that I've been driving, I can think of maybe 2 or 3 occasions that I've stopped at a Kwik Trip. I'm talking about for a break. I know I showered at a Kwik Trip when Jenna and I were a team truck, I want to say like 4 years ago. My APU just shut off, by the way. But now the reefer will probably kick on. And I remember it was a pretty good experience. So last night I stayed at a Kwik Trip on a big brand new Kwik Trip on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. And man, it was the nicest. I think it was probably one of the top 5 nicest truck stops I've ever stayed at. It had a full grocery store inside with shopping carts and everything. It had everything, man. I bought some cereal, I bought some milk, a couple odds and ends, and it wasn't really marked up that much. And also, so I showered in the middle of the night last night, but I knew that I wasn't really going to be set up to stop at a Love's tonight, and maybe not tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's an unknown, so I went in there and and I was just like, I'll just go pay for a shower. Now, with the cost of showers and parking and everything across the industry, I assumed that a shower was going to be like 15, 17, 20 bucks. The shower at Kwik Trip was $8. Highly reasonable. I was just dumbfounded and blown away that I'm at a Kwik Trip right now. It was such a good experience. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go park at one right again. But the parking spaces are extremely wide. Just tons of grocery stuff inside. Reasonable prices on the showers. All the parking's free. I wasn't a big fan of their coffee. That's why I made my own coffee tonight. I wasn't a huge fan of their coffee, but I've become less and less reliant or trusting on truck stop coffee. I just feel like that the quality of coffee and truck stops has just really kind of gone downhill. But man, Kwik Trip is like, and I'm talking about the KWIK, because the other one's Kwik Trip too, isn't it, with a Q? Which those are nice too, but a lot of those Kwik Trips don't have showers and stuff like that. The Q Kwik Trips don't have showers. Most of them don't, that I'm aware of. And I have stayed at quite a few of those. A lot of the new sheets are really nice, but they don't usually have shower facilities. But Kwik Trip with a K, man, they got this game. They got their shit together. I was really impressed. What do we got here? Sean. I was just there last week. Nice place. Yeah, Sean, you know the one that's across the street from Flying J? You know what I'm talking about? There's like a Flying J and a Kwik Trip. The Kwik Trip is brand new right across from I think it's Flying J. Flying J or Pilot. But it was nice. QT or Kwik Trip. Oh, QT, that's what, okay, yeah, QT would be the best way to say it, yeah. And QTs are nice too, like I said. They just don't have all the facilities. But Kwik Trip's got it on QT by, Kwik Trip's just, oh, man, I was like, dude, why have I not, because the thing is, like tonight, my fuel stop's Speedway, and I'm not going to Speedway. Fuck Speedway, I have no interest in that. It's 4 cents more a gallon across the street at Love's. I'm gonna go to Love's because I get 4 points per gallon, so it offsets the 4 cents. Like little tiny Speedways, that's why I didn't generally trust brands that I'm not familiar with, because like I'm just familiar with Love's. Love's is home to me, you know? But I figured, fuck it, I'll try Kwik Trip. And I'll be damned, dude, that place was like, I'm Kwik Trip from now on when I come up here. Let's see. I've never seen a QT with showers and trucker facilities, really. Yeah, I haven't either, I don't think. They have Kwik Trip in Iowa. Oh, Kwik Star. How do I get this brighter? There we go. Hang on. Okay. That's better. I can see comments now. Gang, what up? 412. I got it right tonight. Kwik Star. I haven't been to a Kwik Star either. I said it's completely closed now. Oh, is it really? Here's a debate. Oh boy, 412's got a debate. Ronald, just wish they were in more places. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Because this is 2 nights in a row I've stayed at Kwik Trip, and I'm on the end. Let me show y'all. I'm on the end right here, and I'm like up on the curb. Look at that. But there's so much room. It's probably, man, you could almost back a tractor between me and that trailer next to me. That's how much space there is in this spot. Food is delicious. I didn't have the food, but they had all kinds of, like, holy shit. They had a bakery in there. They had their hot case had everything. Oh, I did get one thing. I did get one thing because I'm in Wisconsin. Can anyone guess what I got? I did get one thing from the hot case. People swear by Kwik Trip chicken. I think their shit's terrible. No seasoning at all. Big fat chunks of meat, never fully cooked. I didn't try the chicken. Cops are here. Pokerhead, cops are here booting drivers off the shoulder. I asked the cop when it will open again. He said not until after the new year. Really? 412. And Chiefs, man, I had to make a spot tonight. I just got parked in Cincy area, so this place is a shit show. I got a hiding spot in Cincy. I got a spot to hide in the cut over in Cincy. Kwik Trip in Abbotsford, Wisconsin. Burning Rome is it Romeo? Romeo is burning. You are correct. I got cheese curds, and they were not good. They weren't bad. They just, Jenna used to live in when Jenna and I were first together, she lived in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And when you live in Wisconsin, you learn where to get really good cheese curds. Like any kind of bar or place like that does like the Friday night fish fry in Wisconsin, it has cheese curds too. And so it's really hard to, when you get used to like really good Wisconsin cheese curds, you can't, I wasn't impressed. Maybe if you weren't familiar with what a really good cheese curd is, you might have thought these Kwik Trip cheese curds were good. I did not. I thought they were very bland and not that great. Let's see. Something with cheese. It's important. Yeah, Keith, here's an interesting thing for y'all. Did y'all know that like 85% of California pizza kitchen is made in Wisconsin? I've hauled California Pizza Kitchen pizza many times out of Wisconsin. So I'm not sure about the branding play there. If people really knew, California Pizza Kitchen does not come from Wisconsin, but most of your pizza does. Most of your frozen pizza does. Not all of it, but most of it. Let's see here. Have you been to Rudders in PA? I'm not sure. The dude. I think Quick Trip chicken tenders are good. Okay, so we got a debate. 412, man, I'm at this first pilot on 71 in northeast side of the city. Ugh. Keith, yeah, cheese curds are not good, dude. Curd is in the name. Yeah, and I agree with you on that, because anything that's like curdled, you know, like there is no way that I'm eating, what's that cheese that's just, it just makes me want to gag. That's cottage cheese. Cottage cheese, like it literally just made my stomach churn just thinking of cottage cheese. But cheese curds are not really, it's not curdled, you know, it's just but good cheese curds are really good, dude. Andrea, Quick Trips are definitely on upgrade. Love the food variety and parking. Too bad they have not gone nationally. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, let me see if I can find that one so you guys know. I didn't go in this one yet tonight, but that one I was in last night, it was a full grocery store. I'm telling you, like they had shopping carts. I'll find it. That was, where are you at? That one is in Roberts, Wisconsin. Look it up, bookmark it. Roberts, Wisconsin. It's off of 94. Quick Trip 1260. Showers are $8. Huge, wide parking lot, parking spaces, and everything you could want and need for groceries. Like I restocked. I had milk, cheese. I got all kinds of cereal, all kinds of stuff, and it was reasonably priced. Is Manuka parking still packed going tomorrow for an oil change? Yes, it is. I was just there. I was just at Manuka. That's where I got my carb compliant thing done. Not last night, but the night before, or let's see what. So that would have been. I was there Saturday morning, and Friday night, and I can't say too much about this, but let's just say I had a trailer that has to be parked in a specific spot. We'll just put it that way. And that's why I couldn't say where I was at in that last live video. I had that kind of load. But I was at Manuka, and I was very fortunate and glad that I had the kind of load that they wanted me to park in a very specific area, because there was nowhere else to put a trailer. So I got very lucky and just had that kind of load that, you know, that there was like a specified reserved spot for me. Yeah, you know what I mean? Hennings cheese north of Wisconsin can be seen being made through windows, served in warming pot. Very squeaky curds. Had to be room temp to be squeaky and good. That KTN food made me want to move to Wisconsin. It was so nice. Yeah, and another thing is the trees, everything's turning up here. So it was just beautiful. Oh my God, man. This morning was just beautiful. Lenny, I had a question for you. I sent you a text. Stopped at Prime 1 for a 2-hour break. I got that kind of load right now. Yeah, so you get the cheater parking, Lenny. Lenny knows what I'm talking about. The cheater parking. Lenny, I sent you a text, but I had a question for you. I don't really want to discuss it here on YouTube, but I have a question for you. My grandma and aunt love cottage cheese with Fritos. Ugh, God, cottage. Okay, I have a thing about white stuff anyway. Like it just, mayonnaise, no. Sour cream, no. But cottage cheese is one of the worst. Oh my God, man. Like ranch dressing, no. I don't. The only one that I can kind of do is French onion. It's not that I go out of my way for it either. Oh, Lenny. Yeah, I'll send you a follow-up, Lenny. I'll send you a follow-up. I tried to get a straight answer today, and I couldn't get a straight answer. But a reliable source told me that he was told that. Do I listen to podcasts while I drive? Yes, I definitely listen to podcasts, and I also listen to audiobooks. I have an Audible account, and right now I'm listening to a 3-book series that is really good. Like if you like fiction, like a post-apocalypse, but not too crazy. Like this one is about, here's the trilogy. I don't know if you guys can see that. This Disruption trilogy. It's about a solar flare that just takes out the globe's power grid, and it's a 3-book series. If you have an Audible account, 1 credit gets you all 3 books. It's a lot of content too. I'm on the 2nd book and I still have 16 hours on that. Lenny, I hope that that's the case, Lenny, but yeah. I love that I've got a conversation on the top of my phone with Lenny while he's in here. I'll send you some follow-up thoughts on it, Lenny. Okay, the second thing is, oh yeah, so getting back to where I was. So it's gotten hot up here again, but it was just beautiful because all the trees are turning up here in Wisconsin. And in the morning, when I left that Kwik trip this morning at I left there at I think 0400. It was like 62, 63 degrees. And then I had about 160 miles to drive, 150 miles to Abbyland in Curtis, I believe. And so I watched, so the sun didn't rise high enough to where it was in my face because I was eastbound, but it was high enough to where it just illuminated everything. And there was this really light hint of fog, and there's just all the orange and yellow and maroon purple trees as far as the eye could see. It was so beautiful, man. So beautiful. I miss team trucking in the fall when I could afford to go to the Northeast. Right now, solo, I ain't going to Northeast, but team, I would, because I could very easily and very quickly get out. As a solo driver, you can get trapped up there big time. But I miss being in Vermont and Maine and New Hampshire this time of year. It's just like, oh, so beautiful. Everyone there had a Sasquatch sighting while driving. I'm always on the lookout, but nothing yet. Big ass wolves, 412. I knew a dude who hit a moose. Wouldn't that be some shit, dude? Where's my wife? Yeah, Lenny, definitely ask him. He would absolutely know. I got this, Lenny, from another fleet manager, not my fleet manager. My fleet manager doesn't know anything about it, but another fleet manager told me what I told you, Lenny. You miss Uncle Ben and Jerry. Hey, I like Ben and Jerry, man. I like those loads. They don't pay great, but the thing with the Ben and Jerry's loads is, well, not the one that goes to Henderson. I hate the one that goes to Henderson, but if you take a Ben and Jerry's load to like Missouri or somewhere like that, it sets you up in a really good reload area. I like Ben and Jerry's. I like the drop and hook place. I don't necessarily like the actual Ben and Jerry's with the museum and the store and all that shit, the graveyard. That place kind of sucks. Beautiful bird, man. I'd spent a week going east to west from upper state New York to Maine, all through New Hampshire and Vermont, and not once did I hit a main highway. Yeah, that happens for quite a while when you leave Ben and Jerry. When you leave Ben and Jerry's, God, if you have to do that drive during the daytime, it's hell. It is absolute hell. Not fun at night either, but at least there's no other traffic at night, because you're going to be on 2-lane small town highways for a long time. Safe to say, I was so happy to see a pilot when I got down to PA. Yeah. Like samples. Oh yeah, the samples. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, Lenny, that's fat kid stuff, man. It's fat kid stuff. I went in there one time. Well, one time I'd parked and the guy came out and he's like, "Hey, man, they're really quiet in there, so they had me come over here and tell all the drivers you can go over there and order whatever you want." So I went into the store. I try not to ever have, I've never bought ice cream from a truck stop, with the exception of a popsicle. I bought popsicles when I was in Florida stuck in a hurricane, those fruit popsicles. Those Mexican ones, they're really good. But I do not have ice cream with me on the road. It's just not a good idea. You don't move enough to be able to process that. But this dude came out and he was like, "Man, you guys can go in the store. They're really quiet over there. You can go over there and order whatever you want. Not as much as you want, but anything off the menu." And I went and got this, dude, it was a big ass waffle cone with like 3 different flavors on top. The waffle cone was chocolate dipped. Oh my God. And you know that ice cream is fresh off the line, dude. Like if you're buying it out of the store at the facility, it was just made. Yeah, you are going to the Canadian border, Lenny. Yep, exactly. Lenny, I knew a driver who was trying to tell me that it makes more sense to drive all the way back down to Massachusetts. And I'm like, dude, you're fucking high, man. That makes no sense at all. He's like, "Oh, those 2-lane highways, like it ends up being about the same amount of time." I do not believe that, dude. I do not believe that for a second. My reefer just kicked on. Sorry about that. Dude, like you have to go the way. You have to go the way to where you're going up to the Canadian border. 4 and 2, 2 lanes and small town stop and go, mountains and nothing but. I wanted to scream. Yeah. Terrible truck stops. Yeah. No showers, barely, never food. Yeah. The dude, do you mostly use load choice? I was wondering how to get on it. I use load choice on the load I'm on. So I try to mostly use load choice, yes. I used it to get the load I'm on. I think, and I've talked about this many times, people have this misconception of load choice and somehow think that it's all the best loads on load choice. I get pre-planned some pretty good loads from dispatch or from sales. And sometimes it's not the greatest loads on load choice. But as I've said many times on my channel, the value to me for load choice is knowing before I'm unloaded what to do next. That's the value of me. There's no waiting. It's so damn aggravating to me that any of us are waiting at receivers when there's loads. And load choice tells me that there's loads. So I don't know if it's just that, you know, there's way more trucks than sales can, you know, constantly dispatch. I'm not really sure why there's so much waiting to get a new pre-plan, because there's almost always loads. That's what load choice tells me. And so the biggest value to me is removing the mystery of what to do next. I generally, by the time I get my paperwork, I know what truck wash to go to, whether or not I'm going to take my 10 or try to get somewhere else. You know, I've got all those answers before I get my paperwork at a 90. That to me is the value of load choice. And I would say to Prime, if you want so many of us not wanting load choice, then just do something to get us dispatched faster. Because it's pretty obvious to me that there's usually loads. So why are we sitting waiting? No one should be sitting waiting. We if there's loads, dispatch the truck, so that the driver doesn't have to leave a receiver, go park somewhere, get into their undies, get comfy and ready for a 10, and then you say, oh, can you go pick this up in 45 minutes? Like, it's frustrating. And they may have gone the wrong direction too and parked in the wrong direction. I don't think I've ever ate Ben & Jerry's. Man, when it's fresh at Ben & Jerry's like that, it's like there's just nothing else like it. No Prime as a customer way the way it was. Main, I mean, oh. Yeah. Couldn't tell you what it was, but I've seen like 30 plus trailers there. Yeah. Lenny, you agree? Oh, you're talking about load choice, Lenny? Yeah. Yeah, Lenny, I think like I've had people say the reason you get good rates is only because you have load choice. Like, not really, man. Some of the best loads that I get, that Whopper load that I got going to Florida, that just paid insanely stupid, gave me the biggest paycheck that I've had this year, was not a load choice load. There's proposed loads that I get that load that I ran up here, the load that it's the kind you don't talk about, that was not a load choice load, that was a proposed load. Again, the value to me is just that I don't have to wait. Like, there's no mystery to me. Because I like to, you know, I don't even mind if I have to take a 10 after I drop off. I just want to know, do I go get a washout now, and in which direction do I go? You know, I'm almost to a point of it being like almost feeling like it's a little bit of a handicap sometimes of how relentless I am at wanting to know what I need to do next, and being able to plan every step. And like with Walmart's, you know, we have that 1 hour window. Dude, I'm at Walmart 59. I'm pulling into the line at Walmart 59 minutes before my appointment every fucking time. That's how meticulous I am about, is there a way station 30 minutes that I can stop at and burn some time? What do the shoulders look like on the off ramp? Are there shoulders? Not that we're supposed to park on shoulders, but if it's at where a Walmart is, I'll sit there for 15 minutes. Is it, you know, is there a place on the side of the street before the Walmart that I can burn a few minutes? If there's not, then I'm, you know, like all this stuff is going through my head all the time. I cannot stand not being able to plan what to do next. So that's the value to me. Can anyone get load choice? I've been with Prime for 10 years and I've never even heard of it, but I'm looking for shit like that. Not really. Not really. I'll just say it's very difficult, and from Prime's perspective, I think they would prefer that it had never happened. I'm always sus of sales. The week before was sent a load that had killed North Carolina, was told there was nothing else. I declined and later got up. Oh yeah. Dude, I call that bluff every time. Now, I don't mind deadhead. In fact, I'll deadhead out of Miami to Georgia because it's empty miles, you know. They're very cheap miles to run. But if you're going to tell me, like they tried to deadhead one of my trucks from Springfield to Denver a few weeks ago. From Springfield to Denver. And I was like, first of all, I got to pay that company driver all that. But second of all, no. I'm like, well, there's no freight in Springfield right now. Okay, then I'll just have my driver, because it's my truck, drive up to Olney, Illinois, sit in that yard with an empty trailer until you guys dispatch them from there. That's what I said. And wouldn't you know it, there's a load 40 miles away that paid, I think, almost $3 a mile, picking up that night. Oh boy. Three out of my last 4 loads have been no talking about pharmaceutical runs. Yeah, but you're a team truck, Lenny. It's extremely rare for a solo truck to get one, and I got one. I just deadheaded 755 miles done in Georgia, North Chicago. Dang. Yeah, but that's your truck, Lenny. I have to pay a company driver that 800 miles. You know what I mean? Like if it was me, like, yeah, whatever, you know, it's an empty it's cheap miles, but it would be good for my driver, of course, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care, right? They don't care. Like in fact, they would rather do a lot of deadhead because that's just an empty trailer and they're being paid the same, whether it's empty or loaded. It seems like when you decline a load, you get something better after. Yeah, it does. I was trying to get out of that, but yeah, it does. I had someone on the phone with me the other day, and he's like, man, I just, you know, I try to only decline like maybe 1 load a month. Do you think that's, you know, but I'm losing money. Do you think that's a good way to gauge it? And I'm like, bro, I say no to probably 2 loads a week. Well, no, across my fleet, in fact, I rejected a load this morning for my Peterbilt. Across my fleet, I'm probably saying no to 3 to 4 loads a week, to be honest with you. There's always a load. Yeah, so Lenny, because you're on load choice, you know what I'm talking about now. Because it opens your eyes, bro. It opens your eyes to the fact that there is almost always a load. Very rarely, when you know that freight is shit, is when you open load choice and it says no proposed loads at this time. That's when it's real. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens. Usually it would be like on a Saturday, depending on where you're at. But usually it's on a weekend or something. Or if you're delivering like on a Sunday night where everybody who just delivered on Sunday is already picked up or has already been dispatched on everything that's picking up Monday morning. Very rarely, occasionally, you'll see there are no proposed loads at this time. And that's when you know it's shit. But 9 out of 10 times, with load choice, you'll see 6 loads around you. And if you have load choice and you don't use it immediately, you'll sit there for like an hour or two, you know, a couple hours waiting for a load to be proposed to you. And it's like, but there's loads. There's loads. So, and I'm not accusing Prime of withholding the loads. I'm just saying there's something that's not jiving, right? There's something that's not clicking where Like, just get loads to the trucks, man. Just get loads out. Quit trying to manipulate it all. And the drivers need to know what to do next. Just get loads to the trucks. Fuck, man. I just started leasing like 4 months ago, but I signed a 3-year lease, but I was thinking of putting down 14 to get my own truck. Any recommendations? I don't know if I should jump fast or finish the lease. I always strongly recommend a lease purchase if you are solo. If you are solo, do a lease purchase. That would be my recommendation. If you're a team, do not. Now is not the time. Because your truck is just not going to have the value that it had a couple years ago. Jenna's calling me a dick for telling her that I'm live when she tried to call. I told her I was live, or I was going live 45 minutes ago. But so here's another thing that you got to consider on the lease purchase. You know, a lot of people say, yeah, but you can potentially get $10 or $15 or $20,000 back at the end of your standard lease. Yes, but also on a lease purchase. Oh, I told you, Jenna, 45 minutes ago I was doing a live. But on lease purchase, you get your tire fund back, you get your performance bond back. You know, you're talking like $5,000, $6,000 worth of stuff you get back at the end of your lease purchase. So, yes, I did, Jenna. I'll send you a screenshot. That was at 9:46. Babe, 9:46. Oh, she said, never mind, you did. Yeah, I got receipts. Yeah. A fleet owner, does your dispatch run loads by you first for all your trucks, or how does that work? No, they can. I know some small fleet owners that are very, very involved. I've always more tried to want to teach my drivers what I want, how I want the truck to operate. And so no, in fact, I've never really even required my drivers to tell me what they're being proposed. I can see their trips in the app, but I've never. Now, Jim, who drives my Peterbilt, he sends me screenshots every single time. Even though I tell him, you don't need to do that, man. If it hits all the parameters, then you're good to go. You don't need to send me, but he still does. And I think it's just as a courtesy. But if it's a load they think they should reject, then they'll reach out to me, and usually I will tell my fleet manager that's not going to happen. Today I asked him I told him what to say because I was asleep, so I was trying to get back to sleep. So I told him what to say and how to say it, because if I would have said it, I would have been like, get that fucking shit off my truck. I would have been like, fuck all that. Fuck everything about that load. But I've had occasionally a night or weekend guy try to kind of argue back a little bit, and I would have my driver like patch me in to the call, and I'd be like, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's kind of a weird thing, because you gotta understand that drivers for a private fleet are actual employees of Prime. I'm not an employee of Prime, but drivers of a private fleet are employees of Prime. So it's a weird dynamic where they don't actually work for me. They work for Prime, but I have all the authority in what they do. So it's a strange dynamic, because the fleet manager, like if they're a company driver on a company truck, the fleet manager has total control and can tell them anything and whatever to do, you know, where to go, where to fuel, all that stuff. Drivers for our fleet are still company employees for Prime, but Prime can't tell them shit. They can't tell them when they can do laundry, when they can do it 34, how long they can sit, how fast, you know, I mean, tell them how fast they can go, but they can fuel wherever they want. They can't force dispatch them. They can't tell them that they can only be home for 3 days. It's a weird dynamic. Let's see. Turn this standard lease back in. Just put that 14 down. Yes, and that's what Jen and I did on our first lease purchase. In fact, we had ordered a Peterbilt. So we were driving a Peterbilt that we ordered and turned that in after, I think we had that truck for maybe 8 or 9 months, and turned it in, walked away from that standard lease to start doing lease purchases. So yeah, I'll tell you, there is nothing more liberating than paying off a truck. Well, there are things, but you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. But again, only if you're solo. You want to have, because this truck has 320,000 miles and it's over 3 years old. And actually, this truck was ran team for a little bit of time, so it could have been less. I don't run that many miles. Have you ever had any static with your drivers before, or drivers having issues with your dispatch? Yes, was on his live today. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to his live tonight. Yes, 412. Yes, we've had major problems with drivers. Oh yeah. And I ain't gonna get into the details, but I'll just tell you. It is very difficult to find drivers you can trust. Very, very difficult. And when you find them, you take good care of them. Because, man, Jen and I have been tore up from the floor up from drivers who tell us one thing, and then a week or two later we find out something completely different. And you know, we've had drivers go to our fleet manager and say that we authorized something, or that we were aware that they were staying home for a week or longer when we weren't. We've had all of it, man. I could tell you some stories, man. We had a driver basically abandon our truck, but at Prime, and just he told me that he was gonna fly home to Florida, so he parked his truck at Prime, and I never heard from him again. Like, I just never heard from him again. Like, why would you even tell me that? We had another driver who somehow thought that she could just park our truck and take a month off, and was extremely livid when we were like, fuck no. Fuck no. Like, she was like dumbfounded that we were not okay with that. Like, so in fact, that's this truck that I'm in. that happened with. Oh man, there's some doozies. Some doozies. I bet that eats those dispatchers up that they can't tell your guys what to do. Yes, it does. I'm sure it does. Because again, drivers who drive for Jenna and I don't work for Jenna and I, but we control them. Prime has no control over them, but they work for Prime. get more flies with sugar than you do. So, yeah. Yeah, I run solo. How much will be the truck payments a month or weekly? How'd that go? I think they're pretty high right now. I think they're like $1,500 or just under $1,500. That's what Jim C told me the other day. So here's what I'd say. It's a tough pill to swallow for 3 years, but you own a truck that you paid $165 or whatever it is, $1,000 for in 3 years. If you can dedicate yourself to it for 3 years, it'll be so damn rewarding, man. So rewarding. You just got to grind it out for 3 years. I wouldn't want to be a fleet owner unless I had millions in capital and was almost 100% hands off. I care too much about my equipment. How these guys live, yeah. Some very much have, some have great respect for your equipment, and some have zero respect for your equipment. Zero. And some have zero respect for you or anyone else, and you have to pay the price for that. It's a risk you take. But, you know, we've had drivers in our trucks that have been driving and even training for years that were the shittiest decisions we've made with trucks. And then we have a driver right now who got into our truck the day he upgraded, or the day he got out of TNT, and he's been the best driver we've ever had. Now, he's made some mistakes, but so have I. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes. But he's been the best, most reliable, trustworthy driver, hands down, we ever had. But we had to, you have to really flip a switch in your head to take a brand new driver out of training and turn over your $161,000 truck to them and trust in them. What time is it? 10:40. Yeah, Lenny just did that. But Lenny, you finished your lease, right? Or you completed the lease and then ordered a truck and took time off between the two, right? Yeah, Jenna's definitely not the calm one. Jenna is not the "can I speak to your manager" type. Jenna is "where's your manager so I can light him on fire" type. Let's see. You know, it's funny, as a lot of people get into trucking and assume as a company driver you're going to run a load or two and make $1,500 a week. Even owner ops know you have to hustle hard and run it. Yeah. And payroll cut off, yeah. Anyone knows? Let's see. Jimmy, yeah. Hands down the smartest gamble ever made. It was definitely a gamble. Yeah, man, you got a lot of faith, but at the same time, you got to think Prime trusted you as a rookie, even though their scale loss. Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. It's definitely a gamble. Jenna, you should be a fleet manager. Jenna actually would be a good fleet manager. She actually would be. And a lot of you remember that Jenna used to work in-house at Prime. She was a driver, obviously, and then worked in-house. When she was in-house, she did fuel desk, she did live depart calls, switchboard, all kinds of stuff. And she was excellent, excellent. You know what was amazing about that? When I would be at a washout that still had to call Prime for a PO, I could just text Jenna. I I would tell him, hang on, just put the phone down. Let me text my wife. I'm going to get you a PO right now. It was magical. Ever see Tropic Thunder? Fuck yeah, I've seen Tropic Thunder. Oh, that's Jenna. I was going to say, we have a group message thread that is titled Semi-Pro. And it's kind of, I've used Tropic Thunder like labeling, but the last title we had for that group was Semi-Pro, and I had the Semi-Pro movie poster on there. I had a Tropic Thunder one before that. Yeah, Jenna is Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. Absolutely. So here's what I need you to do. Take a step back and literally fuck your own face. Good night, Lenny. I gotta get going here in a few minutes anyway. Thanks for dropping in, Lenny. Let me know what you find out, Lenny, because I'm telling you, I'm not gonna be okay with it if what I've texted you is true. You know, I had an older dude tell me the industry went to shit when companies started hiring dispatch and sales outside the company. Probably. Back in the day, most of our dispatchers were former drivers with company input no less than 10 years. Yeah, here's what, I had a really, really interesting conversation with my fleet manager. Now I have, and he watches my channel, so, but I don't care. I say what I'm going to say, and I would say it to him too. I don't necessarily have the greatest connection with my fleet manager, but I also say that I've come from I came from a very veteran fleet manager, Chris Martin. I think he was a fleet manager for like 20 years. He was a fleet manager for a long time, 15 or 20 years, something like that. And then I had a fleet manager who was a very good friend, even when he was home. You know what I mean? Like outside of work, he and I would talk a lot. And my current fleet manager, we just never talk. We rarely ever talk. And and I think we function differently, we operate differently, and so it's kind of been interesting trying to figure each other out. But here's what I'll say about him. He was a driver for, I think, 15 years. He drove for Landstar. Then he came and built a mini fleet at Prime. He's pulled flatbed, he's pulled hazmat, he's pulled doubles, dry van, reefer, all of it. Seen it all. He's hauled FEMA into disaster zones. He's done it all. So it's really refreshing when I can have a very frank conversation with him. And like when I went into that hurricane, like I called him and I was like, Gary, man, like driver to driver, not fleet manager to driver, but driver to driver. Here's my plan. As a driver, you tell me if this seems logical. I know you can't advise me. I'm the captain of my ship, but you tell me if this seems logical. And he like really related to me and is like, yes, I think that's a sound plan. And then after I got down into Florida and was positioned up where I was positioned for the hurricane, he called me again and was like, hey, I just want to make sure you're good with a plan. You know, what's your plan? Let's go over it. You know what I mean? Like he was just really anytime that I've ever said, hey dude, there's high wind or something like that, he'd be like, oh yeah, let's get this appointment changed. Don't fuck with that. You know what I mean? So yes, 412, to what you're saying, it's incredibly valuable to have a fleet manager that was also a driver. Because he knows exactly what any scenario that I'm going through out here on the road, he knows it. He knows what it feels like. He knows the emotions I'm going through. He knows what the clusterfuck might be. he gets it, you know, and he doesn't act as if he knows a better way for me to feel or anything like that, because he gets it. So he never questions his drivers on, you know, if you're like, hey, you know, I got to roll. I can't sit here and wait on someone to answer a live depart call because I'm sitting in a suicide lane and they kicked me out of the shipper. He'll just be like, go, I'll call you in a few minutes. You know what I mean? He doesn't do this stupid, well, you're not allowed to leave until your depart's completed or something like that, because he just fucking knows. Yeah, he understands you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. So, you know, there's, and honestly, it works because I don't need to be, I don't need someone that talks to me all the time. In fact, I've always said to my fleet managers, I want to talk to you as little as possible, because if I'm not talking to you, that means I'm just out here cruising and doing my thing. You can put your time towards other drivers that need your attention and time. So I want to be talking to my fleet managers as little as possible. So it's fine, because it's just different now that I have a fleet manager that doesn't make an effort to be talking to you often. That's different for me, because my first fleet manager, Chris Martin, man, Chris was I got along with Chris great. Jen and I both did. A lot of drivers did not like him. He was very aggressive, and when I say aggressive, very stern in his way of thinking, and he communicated a lot. He wanted to communicate a lot. He wanted to be talking with you on the regular. And then my last fleet manager, he and I just we wanted to talk as little as possible. And then assertive, yes. Not aggressive, assertive, yes. And then this fleet manager, we like don't talk ever. So, you know, I've seen the whole range of it. Where I'm at, they don't bother at all. Don't bother me at all. I mean, at all. Shit, even if I need them, they aren't there at all either. 412. I see that as a problem. I will tell you this. Jen and I have generally always been blessed with a very strong night and weekend team. Very strong. The only time we've ever been fucked over by nights and weekends is when it's someone else covering our fleet. But our night and weekend people have always been excellent. I've had night and weekend dudes that I wished became my fleet manager when my last fleet manager left. We have very competent, very strong night and weekend team, which is amazing because I run nights. So I'm interacting with our night and weekend team far more than I interact with my fleet manager, because I'm asleep when my fleet manager's in. So I have a very good relationship with my night and weekend team. Anyway, it's 10:52. I wanted to leave about 10:30 or 11, so I'm going to get out of here. But I forgot to mention Abbyland, and I put that in the title. That place is awesome, man. I haven't been there since Jen and I drove, so it's been like 4 years probably since I've been to Abbyland. But if you ever get the opportunity to go pick a load up from that cold storage there in Curtis, Wisconsin, take it. There's a washout across the street. Abbyland has an amazing truck stop there. They've got the cold storage. They've got the washout facilities. There's overnight parking at that cold storage. They loaded me with paperwork in 25 minutes. The whole thing was awesome. I put that in the title and didn't talk about it at all. So anyway, all right, guys, I really appreciate you guys joining in. Thanks so much. Be safe. Make good decisions. Always drive, thrive. Talk to y'all soon.